Create your electrical engineering resume with me from scratch using just 2 tools. We're going to use ChatGPT and Google Doc or any other word processor that you might want to use. I've been an electrical engineer for about 12 years, and I'm also a hiring manager. So I see lots and lots of resumes, and I hope that these tips help you out. Let's get started. I'll be creating 2 different resumes for different experience levels. One for somebody who's just graduated and another one for somebody who's got over 5 years of experience. And I'll add different sections of the resume to denote the differences. Bring up your ChatGPT and your Google. You need to go ahead and open up your docs. Again, you can use any word processing software. It can be Word or Pages or anything else. Even Notes would work fine too. We're not going to use a template because I'm actually going to have ChatGPT create this template for us. All right, there we are. Now let's have ChatGPT do our magic. And again, it's just chatgpt.com. If you're not using this tool, you definitely should be. No, you're not going to be able to do any engineering designs on here or anything like that. But for writing purposes and something like this where you're creating your resume, it's perfect. The prompts are really important. So the prompt to type in is create an electrical, if I can type, engineering resume template. Okay. And here she goes. Alrighty. So what we can do here is we'll take a look at the order of items, but you typically want to have your key information, personal information up top, your objective. You can have objective or summary here. I prefer objective personally because it tells the hiring manager exactly what it is you're looking for. And this is where you can tailor your resume and really make it stand out and shine, because most people just have a generic resume that they blast out to everybody else. But no, not you. You're going to get the job because you're going to tailor your resume for this position and for this industry that you're applying for. Alrighty, let's get started. I'm going to just copy and paste this whole thing in. Let's right click copy. Okay, let's paste it in. Okay, all right, and we can play with the format. Honestly, you don't have to have anything fancy with different colors or what have you. Yeah, that could work, you could say, but honestly, it's not a huge deal. I like this to be centered though, so let's center align it. All right, so I'll do one of these here. Address, you don't have to actually put in. Let's just put in your city. So I'm going to use Orlando, FL 32801. Okay, your phone number, yep, you should put on there. All right, let's do 813 101234. Let's just kind of. These are not real, by the way, so don't try to call me. I'm just making it look like it's something. All right, and your email address, let's do yt@gmail.com. Okay, your LinkedIn profile. Yes, I would include it on here if you have one, but make sure you have a custom URL. So you'd want it to look something like this, .com/Nedyanovic, something like that, right? That's not my real profile, but that's what I would use if you've got one. I wouldn't put a clickable link there because most people are just not going to click on it. But there you go, pretty clean. The objective, let's see the order that it placed us in first of all. All right, so we have the objective here. Okay, I like that. Then I would have education, just like exactly like here. Okay, now I put technical skills, professional experience, projects, and so on and so forth. I would probably have professional experience professional experience above technical skills. So let's just go ahead and move those around. Let's cut that. And we'll put it down here. Projects are also going to be important, and we'll talk about that in a second. I think the projects are more important if you don't have any relevant professional experience. So if you're just starting out, for instance, you want to have your projects probably above even your professional experience because you just don't really have that much to say. But now if you've interned and all that, that's all important. All right, education, professional experience, technical skills, projects. Oh, I like this little line though. That kind of breaks them up. Let's get this line in here. Okay. And you can see it already has some keywords in there. This stuff is really powerful. Certifications. Okay. Personal affiliations. We'll leave all that. And this is just there. Okay. Big thing to understand. If you're just starting out and this is going to be your first professional kind of job, I would not have more than a page. So keep it to a page because honestly, you don't have that much to say, okay? Unless you've really done a lot, as a as a student, or maybe, you know, in college you worked on a lot of projects, or maybe you had your own company or something, anything that could be more relevant here. But for instance, when I started out, I'd worked at a couple grocery stores here. There's a big chain in the Southeast called Publix, fantastic food. I worked there for a minute, then I worked at Target. So my initial resume did have those on there. It just showed that A, I'm employable, I know how to be in a company, I was able to keep my job, and, you know, people like me enough that they would give me a job, right? So that shows something, that you have some work experience. It's not as though you've never worked before, because a big part of this whole thing is understanding that you are going to be a professional now, meaning you show up on time. Okay, and you can get some stuff done. That's the point. The objective is important. As you can see, it's already given you something here. Results-driven electrical engineer with X years of experience. Okay, we're going to do two different ones here. For an entry level, you're not going to have this years of experience. I would write something like this. By the way, if at any moment you're getting a little bit hung up about what to write, you've got this tab open, right, at ChatGPT. All you'd have to do is this. Okay, what is a good objective for an entry engineer in the power industry? Let's just say we're going to go for power. You don't have to go for power at all. Of course, that'd be great if you do. We're hiring people, if I can speak for the entire industry, but power is in demand. That's a different video perhaps. For any industry that you're going for, this is where you want to tailor your resume. It's very important. So if you know that you're going into the power industry, write about that, write something there. Okay, so these are a couple different examples that you can use here. Okay, and you see they don't really mention anything about experience. So if you're just starting out, I would say something like seeking a career as an electrical engineer in the power industry, which would make use of my focus and interests in power systems from my bachelor's degree. Okay, that's not bad. All right, so get this. Okay, we can actually even use the tool to see if this is a good intro and see if there are any other differences that it might do. Okay, and let's ask it. Is this a good intro for an entry level? Remember, you want to keep it all short. Here's a refinement. Seeking an entry-level position as an electrical engineer in the power industry where I can utilize my focus and interest in power systems developed during my bachelor's degree. That's brilliant. I like that even better. Okay, so now what have we done? We've used the tool to make sure that we are writing properly. I like that. Okay, now that would be more for an entry level. If you're more experienced, I'm just gonna write it below here. Okay, so then we'll know that's different. This actually is not bad right here that it's giving you. Results-driven electrical engineer. Yeah, it's sort of summarizing it that you are focused and that you can deliver results and you have a proven ability and you can put your skills in this. So actually, you can use this template right here, okay? Or you can even just use what we just pasted above, but let's change that a little bit. So we're gonna say, seeking a position as an electrical engineer in the power okay, but now we've got some experience, right? So let's just say that we are a substation engineer, which I am, in the power industry where I can utilize my, let's say 5+ years of experience as a high voltage protection and controls engineer. So you see, you just dive into a lot more detail now, okay? Rather than just leaving it like that, right? You've got more things you can say. And then of course I can throw in another line here, but this should be kind of short, right? You're trying to tell a hiring manager what it is you want, okay? So there you go. This is important to spend some time thinking about how you want this to sound and how you want it to read, because this is the first thing that the hiring manager looks at. So here we go. If you're doing an eye scan, first thing is, okay, name. And you know, your name is your name. I have a very Serbian name, so I've always thought about, well, what are they going to think of me? Everyone has their own internal biases, and it's important to not get too caught up in that. Your eyes go to the name when you first see a resume, then the location. Are they local? Okay, that's one thing I want to know. And then I look at the objective, right? This is the first thing that I look at on the resume where I'm actually going to take a second here. And I want to see what it is you're going to say. Let's highlight this here in blue or any other color. Let's give it a yellow highlight because now we know this is for somebody a bit more experienced, a second version, if you will. This is also not bad. All right. I'm going to leave this up here for now so you can see, but I'll delete it when we go to finalize the resume. Okay, let's get into our education. Bachelor of Science. Absolutely. All righty. That is a prerequisite typically for any engineering job of South Florida. Okay, let's just fill this out. Month, year. Alrighty. Let's go August 2010 to... I'm just making this up, guys, by the way. So this is not my real stuff. Okay, August 2014. This needs to be in reverse chronological order as well, by the way. The entire resume needs to be in reverse chronological order. So you can see here that they did it backwards. So if you have a master's, which actually I do, that's a nice thing to have. That's a different video. We can talk about that. If you have your master's, that should go first, okay? Let alone if you have your PhD, of course, definitely put that at the very top. That's the latest thing you did. So with the master's in, let's say, 2014, and I'd say it took 2 years. If you have a thesis, go ahead and put it in there. Now let's just go with something for a BSS, battery energy storage system. Yeah, just whatever. Here's a big tip, by the way. If you have a good GPA, so here in the States, the GPAs are weighted on a scale of 1 through 4, a 4 being an A, a 3 being a B, a C being a 2, a D being a 1, and then a 0 being an F, meaning you totally failed. Typically, you fail even at a D level sometimes. So if you have a good GPA, I would place that right here, okay? So I would say GPA. By a good GPA, I would say it's anything really over a 3.0, right? You know, if it's a 2.7, I wouldn't put that on there. It's just leave it alone. Let the hiring manager ask you about it, okay? But anything above a 3, so let's say it's a 3.3, and I would put that on there. Why not? 3.3 over 4, and I would actually highlight this in bold. And so let's say when you got your bachelor's, you did not have a great GPA. So I would omit that if it's under a 3.0. So let's just leave that one up there. Relevant coursework. This is good. This is good to put in there. So I would put power systems, relay protection. That's a huge one, especially for entering the power industry. Both of those two are. And I would also say electromagnetics. One of the questions that I love to ask, especially when interviewing new grads, is when you were in school, or if you're still in school, what is your favorite course and why? That way I can kind of see and gauge where they really want to be. So put that in there. And then honors, sure. You know, I don't know. That's if you made Dean's List or something, you can put that on there. But if not, you can leave that blank. But those are good, right? That kind of relevant coursework. You can also duplicate that on your master's as well. So as you can see here, we're getting a little full, but remember, this has a lot more information there because I'm leaving those lines in there. Okay, and the master's here, this could be an optional thing, so I'll leave that in blue, in yellow. Professional experience. Okay, once again, this needs to be in reverse chronological order. Okay, so meaning the latest thing and the latest place you've worked at should be there. If you don't have any relevant work experience, meaning relevant engineering experience, put something that you've done before. Okay, so for me, it was working at Target. And if you don't have any experience whatsoever, well, then this section is going to be not only blank, but it should be probably fully omitted. Okay, in that case, then I would highlight, where's the project section? I would move projects from below and put this below your education. And I'll make sure you've got some very relevant projects. Because if I see somebody who doesn't have any projects that they've worked on themselves, and this could be a senior design project also, put that on there, or something you've done in your spare time, or something you've tinkered with. Show me that you are taking initiative to learn about what it's like to actually be an engineer and work on something. Okay, and it doesn't have to be anything big. You're not trying to make a perpetual motion machine, although, of course, I've tried, as probably every other young kid has. So put something on there that's relevant. So in this case here, if I'm trying to enter the power industry and I don't have any experience in that, I don't know, maybe I made a little a solar panel setup and I tried to hook that up to power something in my house. Give me something there that shows me you've taken some initiative. We're going to assume you have some experience, but it's not relative to your engineering. So let's say Target, Target, if you are not aware, is a big store here in America. It's kind of like a big Walmart. Okay, they're putting title. So I was a sales associate. Okay, so I learned how to deal with people, which by the way is a huge part of anything. And that was in Tampa, Florida. And let's say I'd worked there for 2 years. So August 2022. Oh, there's present to present. Yeah, let's say I'm working there right now. Okay, so now I know, all right, obviously you've just completed your education and you're currently working for Target. Nothing wrong with that at all. But now let's talk about what you did there. Some of the keys here, and notice how ChatGPT has already done it for you. You don't necessarily want to use the word I when describing yourself or your work experience. It comes off a little funny and it reads wrong. So these should be kind of short bullet points. You want to use a lot of verbs, I guess, adverbs in this case. I'm not an English major, so don't at me, bro, if I get it wrong. But you see all of these here. There's designed, collaborated, conducted, all these EDs. So in this case here, I'm going to say helped. Helped customers with their shopping and guided them through the store. Okay, I also was the cart boy, collected shopping carts. I also stocked shelves and organized items accordingly. Okay, so this is not going to be that much there, obviously. And also I could say upsold customers on, it's actually 4 company credit cards. Now, what that means is I was one of the people that asked you, would you like to sign up for a Target card after the shopping? And there's typically a discount or something. You get 10% off your order. And you're just trying to get customers into the credit card program so that they spend more money and so on and so forth. But yeah, sometimes they have rewards for this. Okay. And if you, let's say, won something, or hey, I was a top salesman of the month, whatever, put this on there, right? If anything good happened, if you're ever noticed or recognized, put that on there. If you entered or if you did some research. So I actually did some research. I was a research assistant. Okay. And I'm going to say here, and this was at and I'm going to mention the lab here that I used to work, that I would, if you were an RA, a research assistant, then mention the lab that you worked at in school. So let's just say it was the Sustainable Initiative Lab. Okay, and that was in Tampa, FL, and let's say that this was before I had worked at Target, so July 2020 to August 2022. Okay, now this would be very relevant, all right? In fact, you know what? I might even put this, you might have to consider this, I might even put this in front of the sales associate because this is now this is relevant to my coursework, right? So here, there we go. Now we're going to get into some good stuff. Developed, write down what you did, right? Developed power models for BESS. I'm using acronyms. Be careful what kind of acronyms you're using. I am assuming that whatever hiring manager sees this because I'm applying in the power industry, whether it's for a renewable job or it could be for generation or transmission or distribution or substation design, that this hiring manager knows what a BESS is. So you might not know what that is because you're not in the industry. It's a battery energy storage system. So I'm putting it on there. It kind of shows that I understand the lingo. Okay, let's see. I also collected data for a PV to BESS system and helped PH. Okay, now it's actually from a PV BESS system. Okay, and I'm going to say assisted PhD candidates, that's the word, oh sorry, I went blank there for a second, with their research, okay, because I did collect some data with them and I did some studies. Okay, I also presented at fairs and to stakeholders. That's a good word. Okay, and that's good right there. Let's say that this was my experience. Okay, and this typically actually was roughly what I had when I was actually starting out. So I was a target associate for quite some time, but I also was a research assistant. In my case, actually, the research assistant came after I was a target associate, so I would definitely move this above. But let's say it wasn't. Let's say that it was like this. In this case, you might want to consider moving this above the sales associate role there, but it doesn't really matter, right? The hiring manager will be able to figure out that you did this. It shows that A, you want to work and you're taking some initiative to not only join a lab to do research, you care about not only making money, but you care about being professional and continuing on to work, and you probably have to work, and that's fine. And it also shows that you can work. So now let's say actually that you have 5+ years of experience. How would you write that in? I would copy and paste this over and let's do this. Okay, this, if you have 5+ years of experience, let's say that you are now a substation engineer 2. Okay, and we can do a little double I. Okay, and you can be, I don't know, the Yanavik Energy Core, whatever. Okay, August 2020 to August 2020. No, this will be to present, right? If it means you're currently employed. All right, remember now my dates are a little funny, but you get the idea. Okay, so now though, we have some serious stuff to say. Things like designed and completed substation engineering projects ranging from, now this needs to be very detailed, okay? Because now you're talking about all of your experience from 34.5 kV to 345 kV. Worked as a protection and controls engineer to design. Okay, that was develop power models. Let's get that. To design greenfield and brownfield substations, including all schematics. We'll go with 1 lines, 3 lines, DC schematics, relay panel layouts, front views, wiring diagrams, communication equipment. That's some of the experience that was picked up. Okay, at this point, maybe at 3-4 years, maybe you're leading projects. If you're leading projects, obviously put that on there. If you're not, well then omit that. But if you did lead projects, you could say led project teams, was responsible for the final deliverable to be both high quality and on time. I don't like that. Let's see here how we can reword that. If I need some help, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in here to get an idea. Led project teams to ensure final. Yeah, okay. Direct to project teams. Yeah, there you go. This, I like this one better. Okay, so let's use some version of this if we need to. Okay. Led project teams to ensure final deliverables met high quality standards and were completed on time. I like that. All right. Let's see what else. If you had some hands-on work, mention that. And I did. So I did go to some site visits. So I would say went on numerous site visits to ensure quality of our deliverables. Okay. All right, you get the idea. But this section here needs to be bigger than all the rest because this is now, unless you're skipping industries, this section here now, if I'm still going to be in the power industry, and especially if I'm going to continue working with substations, this section here needs to be 75% of your entire professional experience, right? So it should be even deeper than that. We can kind of keep going, right? But this needs to be the deepest part because obviously this is the most relevant. Now, if you're skipping industries or changing industries, you might want to reconsider that, right? You definitely want to have your latest experience here, but maybe you want to bolster your resume by having some of the projects that we talked about, projects that will be more relevant to the space. So fine. As an example, let's say I'm fully fed up with the power industry. Nope, I'm done. And I want to go work in automotive. Okay. I love cars. I do. So what am I going to do? Then maybe you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a classic car and try to, I don't know, repair it, restore it, and bring it up to speed. And that could be a huge project right there in and of itself. And maybe you make some custom components for it. So fine, let's say we buy an old BMW or something like an old E33 series. Nice model, by the way. And okay, that car might cost a little bit of money, but everything that I do, I could document that. Heck, you could make a YouTube channel about it. You could write in forums, but all of that type of experience, everything you've done. So you would say then projects, right? Restored BMW E30, blah, 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 including a new transmission system, right? Rebuilt the engine, replaced everything. Put that should all be on there, but in your project section. That would be if I am an electrical engineer but wanting to go work in automotive. Show this hiring manager, okay, well, this guy is an electrical, but we need kind of more of a mechanical person, but he has a lot of hands-on mechanical experience. Okay, now you see the dots are kind of starting to connect, but he's shown some initiative in that he wants to join our industry, right? So give them something that'll describe your drive and your desire to enter this space, okay? In our example here, we're just assuming though that we know what industry we want to be in and that we're going to go for it and try to enter this space, in which in this example, it's power. All right. So there we go. This looks pretty good now. We've got some professional experience here. And like I said, I'm going to highlight this because this is for somebody who has some more experience in this whatever industry they're currently in. But yes, make sure, do not make the mistake. And believe it or not, I've seen resumes like this. Somebody who's got 10 years of experience and they have literally a single line just like this. This first line, designed and completed substation engineering projects ranging from 34.5 to 345 kV. That could mean so many different things. Okay, did you do the physical design, the layout of the station? Did you do protection and controls? Did you work in the communications? Did you work on the grounding grid? Were you a civil guy? Did you do transmission line? There are, 10 different disciplines that have to come together to make sure that this substation is being built. So you're telling me you did all of it? Like, give me more. Come on, give me something else here. So this section here should be very large if you have experience. Let's get into some technical skills. Honestly, this is laid out really nice here. All right, software, MATLAB, Simulink, AutoCAD, LabVIEW, these are all very good. So I would just kind of filter in and add things that you've already done. In the interest of time, I'm just going to leave this alone here. And multimeter, oscilloscope, I like this tool section. That's actually pretty good right there. Okay, projects. So this is the section that we talked about where if you don't have much experience in the industry or in engineering in general, then this project section should be very, very big, in my opinion. This should be large, showing me that you are willing to go above and beyond. That charges battery. We're not going to go that far. For instance, let's say you built a project that was a solar panel that charged up a battery. Okay. So designed, and this is what engineering is, right? You didn't just try to figure it out. You try to make a design, first of all, how it's all going to be connected, or the voltage is going to be good. You've gone through the troubleshooting process and you've thought about it. That's what engineering is, right? You're not just using your hands and throwing things on the wall and seeing what sticks. No, you're actually going to design it. So in your projects, make sure you've designed something, either using CAD or even paper. Okay, let's put and calculated an ideal solar array that would keep battery charged in case of a power outage at home. Okay. So in this case here, right, you've done some calculations, you figured out the size of solar that you would need for your particular area where you live, the type of battery, power outage home that, let me see, would keep power running for 36 hours. Awesome. Okay. So get this. What we're trying to communicate here is, let's say that you've designed a solar panel, you figured out the total amount of power needed to power your home, and you've done the math, you've added it all up, you probably have some spreadsheets between all of the devices that are using energy. You've kind of created this system, okay, in which you can keep the power on in your house. Now, it doesn't actually mean that you've actually built this, right? Because then you would say designed, calculated, and built. So in this project, it doesn't actually mean that you've built it all, although if you have, that's awesome, put built. But you can just work on a design, okay? A design, right? Work on something that showcases your skills, what you've learned in school, and the software that you know. So let's say we used MATLAB, AutoCAD, and Excel extensively to optimize the system. Okay. All right. And now there could be 2 or 3. So I would, if you don't have any relevant experience, figure out some projects that are going to bolster your resume. And actually, like, forget your resume. What's the point of the resume? It's to sell yourself. And whoever's hiring you, they want to make sure that you want to be in this industry, that you have some initiative, and you can actually be an engineer. If you don't have any project ideas, well, guess what? This tab is still open. How about this? Ready? What is a good project to work on as an entry-level electrical engineer in the power industry, so that I can put it on my resume? Okay, there, the first one. Solar power system design. Okay. Battery management, power quality monitoring. There you go. There's so many. Okay, likewise, if you're not entering the power industry, how about this? Okay, let's just take this. In the telecommunication industry, golden. Obviously, you get the point. You can copy this and place any industry there and get some ideas and start working on something. Okay, that's all I want to see. Do you have the aptitude, and just, are you a go-getter? Okay, that's all, right? Are you a self-starter? That's a huge thing to be. So, all right, let's put a project on there, and you can have multiple ones. The more, the merrier, right? Certifications, if you have any, I would definitely put in IEEE, professional affiliation. Let's say we don't have any certifications. I'm going to delete this section. Professional affiliation, and I would put IEEE member, and then I would put since. Obviously, if you're in the electrical space, you definitely want to be an IEEE member. Get your membership if you can. 2020. Okay. And then references. Available upon request. That's typical to put, but if you actually have somebody close, you can go ahead and place them on there, right? So I would put their information if of course you've asked them already, that is okay to do. You talk to a mentor and say, hey, can I put you down as a professional reference on my resume? In which case you can. So let's say we have one, and let's say it's Nenad Janovic. Okay, Ned Janovic. And sure, let's do our phone number. 813-123-45678. That's too many numbers. And let's first put Ned's title. Okay, so Ned is an electrical engineering manager. And then whatever company is associated with, right? And it's going to be Janovic Energy. Okay. And then you put a phone number or an email if they want to be notified like that. But you get the idea. So I would put 2 or 3 on there if you actually have. If not, then just put available upon request. That's fine too. One more tip. If you're applying for something that is outside where you currently live. So let's say, okay, Ned here lives in Orlando, but let's say he is trying to get hired in Texas or California or New York or whatever. Then I would put here, willing to relocate. That way you're telling the hiring manager, okay, you are open to it. That's typically a first question that they might have. I don't like it there. Okay, you get the point. My formatting is not great right now, but I would definitely put something there. Let's remove some of the fluff and see kind of what it looks like. Remember, some of the yellows are for people that are more experienced or that have higher education, in this case a master's, or if you're getting your MBA, great, put that all on there. Okay. Yeah, this looks pretty good now. Okay. 3 pages will be too much, in my opinion, for somebody with 5 to 8 years of experience. 3 pages, you need somebody who's really done a lot. But in this case here, I think it looks pretty good, honestly. Very, very clean. All you got to do is save it and print it out, and you're good to go. One more final tip here. Okay, power move. If you don't know what keywords to use, there are always keywords in every single industry that recruiters look for, that managers sort of gravitate towards. So me, I understand that, for instance, if I'm looking at this, that the words protection and control engineering are keywords when it comes to substation design. I know this because I'm a manager and I work in that space, all right? But if you don't know this, then, and if you'd like to know what keywords are important for your industry, let's go back over here and ask. Okay, let's type in what keywords important for hiring managers, let's say, to see on your resume for the power industry. I would say hiring managers and recruiters could be used interchangeably here. I'm curious now. Okay. Yep. There we go. Here are some important keywords that can make your resume stand out to hiring managers. Okay. Now, once again, I think it's very obvious. I don't need to say this, but do not lie on your resume, because guess what? If you are lying on your resume, that'll come up either in an interview, or if you make it past the interview, when you get hired on, the managers and the people you work with are going to know that you were over advertised and oversold, and that's not good for your reputation. Also, that could even lead to termination. So that's not a good idea. Get some relevant experience either by working in the space that you want to work in, because obviously you're writing your resume, maybe you're looking to enter a space. If you don't have that, well then work on some projects and work on yourself. I think that should be obvious enough to understand. But wow, look at these. This is all very, very true for the most part. I hope that helped. Please let me know in the comments if the video gave you any value and if you'd like to see some other things from me. Once again, my name is Nenad. I'm a manager, a double E. I have my master's in electrical engineering. I work in the power space. And as always, of course, leave a like and a subscribe if the content was of value to you. I really enjoy making these videos, and I hope that they help you out on your journey. Thank you.